The biggest hurdle that Caitlin Clark needs to overcome is her head coach.
This is exactly how Caitlin Clark fans have felt all season, that Stephanie White just isn't the right coach for her, and after that Fever Insider interview, whatever support White built up during the Fever's playoff run, it's gone. Completely gone. Now fans aren't just frustrated, they're begging Caitlin to leave. Not just Indiana, but the WNBA entirely. To go somewhere she's actually appreciated. So, let's break down what Stephanie said, why it's got everyone furious, and what most people might be missing in this whole situation. But before we dive in, I want to hear from you. Do you think Stephanie White is the right coach for Caitlin Clark? Type Y if you do, or N if you don't. Alright. I watched the full Fever Insider interview. Stephanie talked about the team's growth, the playoff push, even what books she's reading lately. To be fair, she did praise Caitlin, called her mature beyond her years, compared her to Taylor Swift 2.0, and even mentioned LeBron and Tiger Woods when talking about her competitiveness. But that's not what people are reacting to. The moment fans started to turn was when Stephanie began complaining about social media, how mean people can be online.
It's a great tool for a lot of different reasons. I just think it's become such a negative space, and it's just become a cesspool for negativity. And right now I'm at a point where I don't need or want.
At first, that doesn't sound like a big deal, but when you look closer, it fits into a pattern. Because every time coaches or players take shots at social media, it's really aimed at one group, Caitlin Clark's fans. The funny part, those fans aren't the problem. They're the ones calling out what's become one of the biggest gaslighting campaigns in sports. This idea that Caitlin Clark isn't the reason the WNBA is booming, that somehow, it's all the collective, but fans see right through that. They're not just defending her, they're reminding everyone why they started watching in the first place. That's where the Maybounds, memes and all those jokes come from. Fans are tired of seeing the league and media hype up Angel Reese as the reason for the WNBA's growth. Even when she says things like, it's not just one person, it's me too. So now, fans are zooming in on every flaw, every stat, every narrative. Because what they really want is to see Iowa Caitlin, fast-paced, fearless, pulling up from the logo, not the watered-down, half-court version trapped inside Stephanie White's system. And that's the real tension here. How do you inherit a once-in-a-generation player like Caitlin Clark, not build your offense around her strengths, and still expect fans to stay quiet about it?
We're saying let Caitlin do her thing. You are forgetting. You knew the spotlight Caitlin Clark had before you got here. You knew that before you got here. You signed up to be under the microscope and in the spotlight. That's part of the reason you came. That's part of the reason a lot of these players came, Natasha, because y'all wanted to gain off of Caitlin Clark's celebrity and clout. And y'all came over here so y'all can get clout. But you didn't like the other side of the coin, which was there is going to be a level of scrutiny. You are going to be held accountable. If you want to go somewhere where nobody cares and nobody's watching and you can stink it up, go to the Atlanta Dream. Nobody will be talking about it.
Sure, Stephanie White can stay off social media if she wants. But let's be real, that negativity she's talking about isn't hate. It's frustration. Fans are tired of seeing Caitlin play off the ball, stripped of the creativity that makes her electric. And it's clear that Stephanie isn't trying to build around her. She said before that she liked how the Mavericks played when Luka Doncic was off the floor, because it got more people involved. That's insane. Luka, like Caitlin, is the kind of player you build around, not away from. And remember when she said she wasn't too worried about Caitlin's injury, that she was more focused on whether Caitlin could fit into the system. Then there was that Liberty game. Caitlin hits 3 deep threes in a row, drops 32 points, and still gets pulled aside after one turnover. It's a pattern. Stephanie White has her system, but it completely clashes with who Caitlin Clark is. But even that wasn't what blew up the internet. Fans really snapped when Stephanie started talking about Kelsey Mitchell, and basically implied she's the top priority on this team.
And I guess with the offseason too, Amber mentioned in her exit interview that the number one priority was to land Kelsey in free agency again. Just how important was she to your team this year? How important has she been to the Fever? Obviously, the 8 years she's been with the franchise, and how badly do you want to keep her around?
I mean, yeah, she was the number one priority a year ago, and she's the number one priority this year. She's been So important. And, I said this last year, Kelsey deserves to go through this stage of her Indiana Fever career. She's been through sort of the worst of the worst, for lack of a better term, in and out of the building, growing pains with getting the organization back. You don't get back-to-back number one picks unless you've been at the bottom for a while, right? And she showed up like a pro every.
Now, to be fair, when White talked about priorities, she was referring to free agency. That part's understandable. Kelsey has been with the team through all the losing years. She deserves to enjoy this moment, but the backlash came right after that.
We love her. We want to continue to build, around her and continue for her to have success.
When Stephanie said, "We want to continue to build around her success," that one word, continue, set fans off, because it confirms exactly what they've felt all along. The Fever aren't building around Caitlin Clark. They're forcing her to adapt to a system that limits her, and that drives fans insane. Because let's be honest, more than half the WNBA's current audience is tuning in for Caitlin Clark. Not to watch a slow, rigid system that buries her talent. Maybe it was poor wording. Maybe she meant building around everyone, Kelsey, Caitlin, Aaliyah Boston. But that's not how fans heard it.
What is it with this rite of passage thing in the WNBA? Well, she's been around the league forever. Don't care. Okay, that's great. But Caitlin Clark is your generational talent. You just said on camera you want to build around Kelsey Mitchell? Really? All right. Wow. Oh, I seem to be under the remembrance that people said this was a conspiracy theory. No, that's Stephanie White I'm telling you right now, I believe Stephanie White believes Kelsey Mitchell's the best player on this team. That's on a team that's got Caitlin Clark on the team, on the roster.
To them, it sounded like Stephanie White prefers veterans, and might even believe the team plays better without Caitlin.
But more specifically, when she was asked through the season, once Caitlin Clark won her ESPY award, Stephanie White was asked about this, and instead of boasting about Caitlin Clark, instead of gushing over Caitlin Clark, instead of hyping up her player, she brushed over Caitlin Clark's achievement, and she saw this as an opportunity to bring up players that nobody cared about in the past. Bring up Sue Bird. Yeah, Sue, you're cool. Nah, I don't care. Bring up Tarot. I don't care. Bring up Brianna. Nah, I don't care. So even when asked with a direct question about Caitlin Clark's achievements, Stephanie White found a way to skirt over it and bring up people in the past.
And he's right. I've seen the clip.
And that's not just a perception issue, it's a pattern. When Caitlin wins an award, Stephanie deflects the credit to the team or the bold guard. When Kelsey does something good, she celebrates her without hesitation. That's why the interview hit such a nerve.
People are angry. And they're angry about Stephanie White, and they're angry about something else. Stephanie White said in that interview, apparently, that the Fever should build around Kelsey Mitchell, which shows that she's the wrong coach for Caitlin Clark. She's there to sabotage the team. Kelsey Mitchell's a free agent. The front office has already said she's the number one priority. She should be the number one priority, given how good she is. And when Stephanie White said they want to continue to build around Kelsey Mitchell, she means Kelsey Mitchell is part of the franchise, part of the foundation, part of the core. Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, Aaliyah Boston, Lexi Hull, the core of the team, like the core of the backcourt is Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. We've already seen them thrive together. I feel like I'm taking crazy pills. We've already seen how dangerous they are. We've already seen Caitlin Clark express her admiration for Stephanie White, express her admiration for Kelsey Mitchell. We've seen Kelsey Mitchell express her admiration for Caitlin Clark, and we've seen them cook together. So, what is the problem?
I get where Robin is coming from.
Because if you look at it in isolation, it's nothing crazy, but with the full season of history behind it, it says everything about where things stand between Caitlin Clark, the Fever, and the WNBA. Let's be real, the WNBA's surge in attention isn't a mystery. When Caitlin's not on the court, TV ratings drop by over 50%. When she returns, viewership skyrockets, even beating WNBA finals numbers for regular season games, and yet, ESPN and the league refuse to admit what's obvious. They changed Nielsen's tracking system in September, artificially inflating playoff ratings just to blur the contrast. For 2 straight seasons, fans have heard the same gaslighting: she's not the reason for the league's growth. Meanwhile, every measurable stat says otherwise. It's like the WNBA doesn't know how to handle a superstar of her magnitude. Instead of celebrating her, they've tried to contain her. And it's backfired, badly. The only person who's really embraced the truth is Sophie Cunningham.
Literally, like, pisses me off when people are like, she's not the face of the league.
Who would be?
What?
Sabrina? No.
No, there's really good, well-known people in our league. I'm not discrediting them. Like, we have a lot of badasses in our league.
Yeah.
Like, hell yeah to that. I'm all for that. But when people try to argue that she's not the face of our league, or if our league would be where we're at without her, you're dumb as shit.
She's called out the double standards, the ref treatment, the media spin, and because of that, she's exploded in popularity. She's become one of the most recognizable players in the league, but she's also become Kathy Engelbert's biggest headache, because unlike Caitlin, who stays quiet, Sophie says what everyone else is thinking, out loud.
I think this is just such a pivotal point in the WNBA, because there are so many eyes on us. There's so many new fans. There's millions, I should say, new fans. And at the end of the day, she's worried about her. In all of her statements, it's all like, well, I got us here and I should. Kathy, no one cares. Literally, no one cares. Like how you're sitting right there, that's how we feel every time she speaks. Every time she speaks, us as players, that's how we feel.
Now, I'll give Stephanie White this. She said one thing I actually agree with.
I said this on Jake's interview too. It's like we've forgotten that we can hold space for multiple truths, like multiple.
There can be more than one truth. And she's right that it's possible that Stephanie doesn't mean to sideline Caitlin. She might genuinely respect her. But it's also fair for fans to feel the way they do, because from everything we've seen, this system isn't built for Caitlin Clark to thrive, and if that doesn't change soon, she might have to find somewhere that is. What do you think? Drop your thoughts in the comments. Is Stephanie White the right coach for Caitlin Clark, or is it time for her to move on?